In today's session of Visual JForex, we will be continuing our algorithm development work using the indicator Bollinger bands. This is the third and the final session of this series, and in today's setup, we will be completing the requirement for the execution of the sell trade. So let us now go to the Visual JForex board, which has been developed by the Dukascopy Bank SA. In last two sessions, we had carried out this instrument subscription. After that, the position amount requirement was defined. These two blocks of the Bollinger Bands candle period of 4 hours have been added. And to look at the price volatility, we are also taking the help of these get historical candles of 4 hours each. To retrieve the individual variables, we will be using this loop viewer. And afterwards, to pinpoint the exact entry point, these 10-second candles will help. We have created many variables after carrying out the required calculation to set the conditions which are necessary for execution of the trade. And on the lower side, this final structure is ready. So far, so good. So the buy side is complete. Now I will be giving you a refresher of sort on what are the requirements for the execution of the sell trade. We need the momentum to be on the bearish side. We need the formation to be conducive for the sell trade, and by that I mean the formation should be of lower highs and lower lows. We are taking the help of this Bollinger Band formation, and we want that in last 48 hours, that is over last 2 days, the low of the any of the candle for our candle period, and for that we are taking the cluster of 12 candles, and that low should be below the lower of these three bands, the lower band of this Bollinger Band, and the high of that 12 candle cluster should be below the high that is upper band of these Bollinger bands, and also momentum should be there. We want the last 4 hourly candle to have closed with substantial losses, and for that we have added the condition: the difference between the opening price and the closing price should be more than 20 pips. So that will help us in finding the exact moment to get involved for the trade. And we want to be trading after some retracement has happened and the price action is consolidating closer to this middle band. So that condition is also going to be added. So the structure is quite simple, and I will be explaining to you how you can execute it, how you can implement it on the JForex platform in a equally simple manner. So let us get started for the day. We have some conditions already defined for us. There is a minimum requirement of 20 pips. For that, the calculation is there. Now in today's session, we will have to invert this calculation. For a buy trade, we had considered the candle 7's candle close and candle open difference, where we had deducted the candle open from the closing price, as the requirement was that closing price should be higher than the opening price for the buy trade. But now for the sell trade, we will need the last 4 hourly candle, which is the candle 17. Its closing value will need to be lower than the opening value, and for that condition to be defined, we will have to carry out a fresh calculation. So I'm going to add new calculation expression block, in which we will be deducting the closing price from the opening price. Auto created variable candle 17. Opening price is going to be higher, so we have to deduct closing price from the opening price to get the output in positive territory, so that we can compare it to then the output here defined, which we had defined in prior session. This is going to be A1 minus A2. Result of the calculation is going to be sell side closing difference I will disconnect this flow and join it to this block. Okay, and now that we have defined this, we can add a block right now, or maybe we will do it all together once we are done with the calculations. And this was first of couple of calculations which we will have to do in today's session. Now we will also have to multiply this output with half, and then we will add it to the last tick price to arrive at the price of the execution of the sale trade, which is going to be a limit order. So I will take this output and multiply it with HCLD, which has the value of 0.5. We had defined this variable in the last session. This is going to be A1 into A2. I will add another calculation expression block. Which is going to get us the limit order value. So we have to add on tick, last tick ask, and add A1 plus A2, and this will be our selling price. Okay, now we have to define the stop loss and the take profit variables for the sale trade. Stop loss is going to be half of the last 4 early candles closing and opening difference. So all we have to do is take this value and multiply it with 10 raised to the power 4, that is 10,000. Yes, this is the variable. A1 into A2. I will not create this variable right now. We will create it once we get the trade command block, and only after that we will define the take profit also. Okay, so we stop it here and start adding the if blocks to define the conditions for the execution of sell trade. Logical components we are going to need. We are going to need 7 of these blocks. 3, 7. One of my neighbors seems to be doing something at his phone. He is disturbing us, so pardon me for that. Here we will have to take the BHL's lowest value and the highest value. And the low will need to be lower than the lower band of 16. First input less than second input. BHL's candle high will need to be less than upper band 16. This Bollinger Band has a loopback period of 6. That means we are looking at the data 1 day before the execution of the trade. We are going back in time essentially. First input less than second input. We are also going to need to compare VHL candle high with the middle band, and in this instance we will need the high to be greater than the middle band. So first input greater than second input. VHL candle low needs to be greater than the last 4 hours Bollinger Band lower band. Okay. First input greater than second input. We also have to make sure there is enough volatility. So we consider actual difference of last 4 hours closing and opening price. This difference needs to be greater than 20 pips. So with this we have defined the Bollinger Band and the price action conditions. Now all we have to do is look at the precise point of entry, which is going to be the last 4 hours closing value. Whenever price starts to drop below that, we will be looking to execute the trade. So I will join the block to this if block. First input greater than second input. Okay. And now we are going to need candle 17 candle close. Candle 17 is the last 4 hourly candle. is going to be the common input. Candle 17 candle close will be compared to candle 20 and candle 21's closing values. Candle 20 candle close needs to be less than candle 17 candle close. First input less than second input. And candle 21 candle close should have been greater than candle 17 candle close. Okay, so with this we have the 7 conditions defined, which is going to make the sell side symmetric with the buy side. I will join it here on the lower side. I have to bring in the trade command block now. Pending open. Candle 21 was a 10-second candle with the lookback period of 2, and it should have closed higher than the candle 17. Candle 17 is a 4-hourly candle, last 4-hourly candle. So first input greater than second input. Okay. Now we have to take care of these input values for this trade command block. This is going to be a sell limit order. Price we have defined. Here it is. Default instrument is going to be Euro USD. Trade amount I will change to 0.1 million. You should keep it as per the equity of the account. Slippage 2 pips. Stop loss is going to be used from calculation expression. Order validity we have already defined in the last session. I will put in the order validity first. This is the variable, and our order validity is going to be defined by this variable OV. OV has the value of 8. That means our order validity is 8 hours. Now coming to defining of stop loss and take profit. I will create new variable here. SSL and assign it to this output value. So essentially our stop loss is equal to the half of the last 4 hourly candle closing and opening difference, and we multiply it with 2. This variable has the value of 2. Let me be sure one more time. Yes, this is going to be A1 into A2, and similar to the stop loss, the take profit level will also be created on this side, and I will assign this variable here. So we have this output value being used as the take profit level, and we are getting the stop loss and take profit in the ratio of 1:2. So with this our setup is complete, and as you can see the line is colored pink, which means the trade flow is going through till the very end. And now with all these input values in place, the trade can be executed provided these conditions which we have defined gets fulfilled at any point in time. So this is the setup. If you want to test it, you will have to run the test on historical data on JForex platform and see how the trading happens, whether it is profitable or not. You will get idea after only running the test on extensive data. So do try that. Thank you all for joining in. If you want to access the developments related to further market coverage, you can access our Dukascopy Analytics page. To start trading, you can use the JForex platform, and we are also available on Facebook. You can join our page there. Thank you all for joining in. See you next time. Till then, goodbye.